students and friends, and in the last lecture we have discussed about the animal kingdom, and that chapter finished. So today I am going to start a new chapter, and the name of chapter is the structural organization in animals. And I think I hope so you are enjoying the biology with myself, Dr. Ravikant Pathak. And if you have any problem or any question, so you can ask in comments. And I will also create one ID on Facebook. That is the page. I create page. So you can go and check if you have any problem. I have also provided my contact number. You can ask anything if you have any question and other things. So in the sequence of this video, so I'm going to discuss next chapter, and the name of chapter is the structural organization in animals. And in this chapter, what we will read two different topics. We will read how many topics? So we will read two different topics. And in this chapter, they have given the two different topic: animal tissue and cockroach different system like reproductive, digestive, and reproductive, digestive, nerve control and coordination, excretory system, circulatory system, and optical. That means they have related to vision. So it means what you will say here. What first of all, in your NCERT they have given the three organism to they have given in your book, but in your NEET syllabus it have only included only included cockroach. So we will discuss in the cockroach. And first topic what it have given, it have given the animal tissue. So now I'm going to start. This is the first topic, and I'm also understanding. So everyone, you are understanding very sharply. And here, what you will see first is the tissue. So tissue, that means you have already studied from 6th to 12th standard. And this content, if you will see, so this contents is the basically focus on the NEET students which are going to give the exam, in 2020. So and this is the very helpful. I am trying to give the 100%, more than 100%, and it will help for students. They can easily understand. They can easily also learn, because you have already seen in the previous classes. We have also provided some short trick by which you can learn very easily. Okay. So leave it, and I'm going to start. That is the first topic, which is known as the tissue. Okay, and in that, if you'll see here, tissue. So tissue you know very well, and one definition of the tissue, that is the group of cells. So tissue is the group of cells which arise from the same mother cell and they perform the similar function. The true group of the cells which is arise from the same mother cell. Same mother cell means blast. Blast means mother cell or blastula. So same mother cells, and they perform the similar function. So this is known as the tissue. Okay. And here one standard definition also have given. If you read this definition, so what they have given: a group of similar cells. What they have given? It have given a group of similar cells along with intercellular substances. What is the intercellular substances? Intercellular substances means like matrix, collagen, and some glycoprotein, cadherin, and integrins, and connexin, fibronectin. So these are the considered as a intercellular substances, and they connect one cell to another cell. So here what is saying: a group of similar cells along with the intercellular substances perform the specific function. So how you'll understand? So suppose that this is the cells, and this is the group of cells. You can see here, this is the group of cells, and they are linked with the intercellular. So here they are linked with the, this is the intercellular substances, they are linked with this. Okay. And say every cell, suppose that these cells involved in the transportation of water, these cells also involved in the transportation of water, these cells also involved in the transportation, means every cell perform a specific function. So this is known as the tissue. So what we will say, you can say this is the tissue. So tissue is the group of similar cells along with intercellular substances perform a specific function. Okay. So this is the, and the study of tissue is known as the histology. The study of tissue you can say it is known as the histology. So here they have been if you know, in case of the plants, so we will also discuss later. Plant also have the tissue, and you already studied anatomy of the plant. Okay, anatomy of the plant. So that means they have the how many types of tissue? They have the two different types of the tissue. First is the first means you can say meristematic cells. First is the meristematic cells, and another is the permanent tissue. Okay, one is the meristematic tissue, another is the permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue means these cells have the dividing ability. These cells have the dividing ability. And permanent tissue, so such type of the tissue, they lost their division ability. Meristematic cells also three different types: apical meristem, lateral meristem, and intercalary meristem. And in case of the permanent, so there is the two different types: simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. So simple permanent tissue also three to four different types: epidermis and ground tissue, that means parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. And in case of the permanent tissue, that is the complex permanent tissue. Why we are saying simple permanent tissue? Because they have the similar type of the cells. But in case of the complex permanent tissue, so they have the two different types of the cells. Complex permanent tissue also have the two, xylem and phloem, and you know very well. So xylem have the four component: xylem fiber, xylem parenchyma, trachea, and vessel. And phloem also have the four component: phloem fiber, phloem parenchyma, companion cell, and seed tube. Okay, so these are the classification of plants. I think you know very well, and you already studied, and we will also discuss when your chapter will start. Okay, so in this chapter, we will discuss about the animal. What we will discuss? We will discuss about the animal tissue. Okay. So here you can see that is the animal tissue, and basically, you animal tissue are divided into how many types? They are divided into four different types. How many number? Four in number. Clear? First is the epithelial tissue. First is the epithelial tissue. Second is the muscular tissue. Third is the connective tissue, and fourth is the nervous tissue. So how many types? Four different types: epithelial, muscular, connective, and nervous tissue. Okay, if you'll see the epithelial tissue, what is the epithelial tissue? Epithelial tissue also known as the protective tissue. This is also known as the protective tissue, or simply you can say covering tissue. Epithelial tissue also considered as a covering tissue. And these epithelial tissue, they have no intercellular spaces. These have no intercellular spaces. And where it found? Why I am saying protective tissue? Because it is found on the skin. It means they are involved in the protection phenomenon. Maybe outside the body or inside the body cavity. If they have the outside involves in the protection. If they have the inside epithelial cells, it involves in the secretion phenomenon. Clear? It involves in the secretion phenomenon. So epithelial cells, there is no intercellular space, and this is also known as the epithelial cells, also known as the covering tissue. Okay, and epithelial cells is the outside the body, that is protective in function, and inside the body cavity like stomach and other places, it involves in the secretion. It involves in the secretion. Okay, so these have given. If we'll check the type of the epithelial tissue, so it is the basic four different types. Okay, so basic four different types, and first is the squamous, second is the cuboidal, third is the columnar, and fourth is the glandular. How many types? Four: squamous, cuboidal, columnar, glandular. Here also I have given the ciliated. Ciliated is a type of columnar. Ciliated is a type of columnar. Okay, if you can see how you learn, so I have provided some short trick, and you can easily learn. SCCG, Special Cadre Coast Guard. So Special Cadre Coast Guard means those police which is lives those force which lives near to the coastal areas, that is called Coast Guard. Okay, so special Cadre Coast Guard: squamous, cuboidal, columnar, and glandular. So squamous, cuboidal, columnar, and glandular. So these are the four different types of the epithelial tissue. Okay, and we will discuss detail about the later. Okay, so second is the muscular tissue. Second is the muscular tissue. What is the muscular tissue? Muscular means this is found in the muscles, and you know very well. So muscle is it is a type of protein. Muscle is a protein, and you know how many types of the protein? Collagen, sorry, muscles is that means troponin, tropomyosin, and actin, myosin. Clear? So actin, myosin, tropomyosin, troponin. So these are the muscular protein, and we will also discuss in the locomotion and body movement chapter. So they have given the detail about the muscles. Okay, So now you can see here muscles. These muscles are how many types? These are the three different types: unstriated, striated, and cardiac muscles. Okay, if we'll see, so there is the how many types? Which are the three different types. First is the unstriated. Unstriated means no striations, and such type of the muscle cells is known as the smooth muscle cells. Okay, such type of the muscle cells is known as the smooth muscle cells. I will check their shape. So smooth muscle shaped is the spindle shape. So there spindle shape means both ends are pointed. Spindle shape means both ends are pointed. So if you see, so there both ends are pointed. So such type of the muscle cells is called smooth muscle cells. Where it found? It found those places where is the irregular involuntary action found, like diaphragm, and some involuntary movement which performed by the like alimentary canal. Alimentary canal also have the smooth muscles. Okay, where perform the reverse peristalsis. You know very well peristalsis, that is the downward movement of the food. So sometimes reverse peristalsis also found inside our body, which cause the vomiting phenomenon. Clear? So this I have given about the unstriated. That means you can say unstriated smooth muscle cells. Why I am saying unstriated? No striations found. Uninucleate. This is the uninucleate. Clear? Next, if we'll see the next what they have given, the striated muscle cells. And striated muscle cell, this is the cylinder. This is the cylinder-like structure. Okay, this is the long cylinder-like structure. And why I are saying striations? Because they have the dark and light band. They have the dark and light band strand found. So due to this, this is known as the striated muscle cells. This is known as the striated muscle cell. And one very interesting feature of the striated muscle, that is the syncytium condition. Syncytium condition means multinucleated condition. Syncytium, that is the multinucleate. You already studied in the biological classification chapter. Biological classification chapter you already studied in case of the fungi, syncytium, cynocytic condition, multinucleate condition. So here in case of the striated muscle cells, they have the number of nucleate, multinucleate, and they are slender. So their body is the slender, and they have the striation, that is the dark as well as light band forms. So that is called this forms the striation like structure. Due to this, it is also known as the striated muscle cells. And one point of also very interesting about the striated muscle location, where it found, it is found attached with the skeletal. This is also called the skeletal muscle. Striated muscles also called the skeletal because they attached with the skeletal organ, skeletal tissue, like you can say leg and hands. Okay, leg and hands, they are attached with them. Okay, next is the cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle found in the heart, and this is also known as the our heart, also known as the myogenic heart. Okay, and these were a characteristic feature. They are provided with the intercalated disc. They are provided with the intercalated disc. They are linked with they are linked with one to each other. Okay, and they have also one important feature. What you can say, they have the branching like structure. They have the branching like structure. Clear? But not branching. They appears because they have the formation of the intercalated disc. Next you can say nervous system. Connective tissue we will discuss later because they have given the number of types. So we will go slowly. First we will discuss fourth, that is nervous tissue, and then connective tissue. So connective tissue means you can say nerves connective tissue. Not nerves connective tissue. Nervous tissue is made up of the number of neuron cells, and neuron cells have the some specific property. We will also discuss detail about the in chapter nerve control coordination. But you should to know little bit property of nervous system or neuron cells here. So first is the neuron cell is the elongated, very longest in our body. So neuron cell is the up to 90 or 100 so up to 90 or 100 centimeter means 1 meter length found in our body. So neuron cell is considered as a longest cell in our body. Second property, neuron cell as well as muscle cells both will not divide. Neuron cells and muscle cells both will not divide because you already studied in the different cell cycle stages, G1S, G2M. After M and in between G1, M and G1, in between they have one phase which is known as the G0 phase. G0 phase also considered as a quiescent phase. during their division, first round of division. So these cells undergo in that stage and arrest, after that they are unable to divide. Clear? So due to this neuron cells, it is unable to divide. Clear? And neurons, they are made up of the two things, axon and dendron and cyton. Clear? So these are the property of neurons, and it involves in the conduction. The function of neurons, it involves in the conduction of messages from one body parts to the another body parts. Clear? Next you can see, next is the connective tissue, which is the very important. And these connective tissue, they have divided into three different types. These connective tissue, they have divided into how many types? It have divided into three different types. It have divided into how many types? Three different types. How you learn? So here I have given some trick. PFS, Provident Fund Service. P stands for proper, F stands for fluid, and S stands for skeletal connective tissue. So P stands for proper, P stands for proper connective tissue, F stands for fluid connective tissue, that is the blood, and S stands for skeletal connective tissue. So here you can see, first of all, proper connective tissue. So proper, they are involved in the connective tissue. If you see, so connective tissue also known as supportive tissue. Connective tissue also known as the supportive tissue. Okay, muscular tissue also known as the contractile tissue. Muscular tissue also known as the contractile tissue. Nerve tissue also known as the conductive tissue. Okay, and connective tissue is known as the supportive tissue. Okay. So here proper connective tissue. So these are also divided into two different types, loose as well as dense. Loose as well as dense. So loose connective tissue, they have the loosely arrangement. So because connective tissue, so they have the loose arrangement of the cell, that is the loose connective tissue. They have the two different types, areolar as well as adipose. Areolar connective tissue and adipose connective tissue. You know very well, adipose is a type of fat cells. Adipose is a type of fat cells. If it will deposit in your body, so then your body become more fatty and weight gain. Okay. Next is the dense connective tissue. Next is the dense connective tissue, and these dense connective tissue have the two things. One is the tendon, another is the ligament. You know very well, tendon involves in the attachment of bone to muscle, and ligament involves in the attachment of bone to bone. Okay. So next is the skeletal. Next is the skeletal connective tissue, and this is the bone and cartilage. Bone, that means, you know, ossified. That means they have the highly strong, and calcification. That means highly ossification bones, and cartilage, it may be flexible and pliable. But here bones is the brittle. Bones is the brittle, and it cannot be bent. Okay. So this is the skeletal connective tissue. Next is the fluid connective tissue, which is the very important. We will also discuss detail about in the chapter fluid, that means circulatory system. Circulatory system we will discuss about this chapter, blood and their components. So blood, you know very well, I had already told. So blood have the two components, blood plasma and blood cells. Blood plasma 60%, blood cells 40%. Blood plasma 90% water, and they have the some substances like soluble gases and clotting protein, and some indigested substances. Okay. And blood cells, they have the three different types, RBC, WBC, and platelets. RBC erythrocytes, WBC leukocytes, and platelets thrombocytes. WBC also two different types, agranulocytes and granulocytes. Granulocytes means they have the granule-like structure in their cytoplasm, and granulocytes also two different types. Granulocytes are three different types, acidophil, basophil, and neutrophil. And agranulocytes also two different types, that is the lymphocytes and monocytes. Okay, lymphocytes also two different types, T lymphocytes as well as B lymphocytes. So we will discuss detail about the circulatory system. You should to know here, these bloods also belong from this type of the tissue. So this belong from the connective tissue. So BF, it means, so what you will say, BFCT, blood is a fluid connective tissue. BFCT, blood is a fluid connective tissue. You should to learn. And one more interesting feature, why they are present in the fluid connective tissue, because there is the no secretion takes place. If you will see in the other substances, there is the secretion of the collagen or fibers. So secretion of the collagen or fiber substances, but in case of the blood cells, there is no secretion of the collagen and fiber. Due to this, it appears in the fluid form. Clear? Due to this, it appears in which form? It appears in the fluid form. Okay. So fluid connective tissues have the two. One is the blood and another is the limb. So one is the blood, another is the limb. So now we will discuss about the detail one by one. Here you can say tissue, and I had already told about the study of tissues known as the histology. So if you'll see, so first tissue, that is the epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue, which is also known as the covering tissue, I had already told. And these tissue are present for protection. I had already told, if they are outside the body, it involves in the protection. If inside the body, involves in the secretion, like stomach and some alimentary canal, they have some secretion. Okay. Second is the connective tissue, that is also called the supportive tissue, because they provide the proper framework. And these tissue help in the binding different body structure. It involves in the binding of different body structure. So like tendons, ligament, you have already seen, bones, cartilaginous. So it also comes in the category of connective tissue. Next is the muscular tissue. Muscular tissue also called the contractile tissue, and this involves in the locomotion. That means movements and locomotion. So the basic function of the muscular tissue, it involves in the movements as well as locomotion phenomenon. So last one is the fourth type. That means you can say nerve tissue. And nerve tissue, I had already told some property of the nerve tissue. This is also called the conductive tissue. And muscles and nerves, they have the both conduction phenomenon. Clear? And it is also called the conductive tissue because it helps in the conduction of nerve impulses. Nerve impulses means messages. Nerve impulses means messages from one body parts to another body parts. Clear? So this is the type of tissue. So in the okay, so now in the next video, I will discuss, I will start first type of the tissue, that is the epithelial tissue, and their type and their example. Okay. And I'm expecting with you, so hit the so firstly you should subscribe, share and like, and hit the bell icon for regular updates. So thank you for your patience and cooperation.